Hello everyone, and welcome to Program Your Life. So what happens when we have a bad personality, when we're looking down on things and a bad attitude? We tend to emulate that around the world, and that tends to create our circumstances all around us, coming from within us. As I've talked about a lot here, it's not so much what's going on externally, it's what you do here internally. So what if you could change your personality? And say, okay, that's good. That'd take months and months and months and years and things like that. You can change your personality very, very quickly within a few days or even just a week or something like that. But how would you go about doing that? You want to focus. You want to create the intention of who you want to be, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, and hold that with an amazing feeling. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling angry, which we've all been there, myself included, hold a vision of that circumstance or whatever you circumstances you want in an amazing place, doing what you want, feeling what you want. Hold that intention, hold that emotion, and then you'll start to see an amazing change of your personality and your outward circumstances very, very soon.
And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you're beginning to change your brain and body from living in the past present reality to living in the future present reality. And the stronger the emotion that you feel, the more you'll pay attention to the picture in your mind. And now you're beginning to emboss the circuitry in your brain, creating a long-term memory and emotionally conditioning your body into that future, how you act and how you feel. So the present personality who's watching this show has created the present personal reality called their life. So it makes sense. If you want to create a new personal reality, a new life, you got to change your personality, which means you got to start thinking about what you've been thinking about. Start modifying your behaviors and noticing how you feel. And if you do that enough times, sooner or later, you're going to disengage from that old personality. But the next step is, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What behaviors do I want to demonstrate in one day, in one lifetime? And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing your behaviors. Mental rehearsal actually installs neurological circuits in your brain. You're priming your brain to begin to become that person. And then if you say, can I teach my body emotionally what my future is going to feel like before it happens? You're not going to wait for your health to feel wholeness and gratitude. You're not going to wait for your new relationship to feel love. That's the old model of reality of cause and effect. You're actually going to cause an effect, which means the moment you start feeling gratitude and wholeness, your healing begins. The moment you start falling in love with life in yourself, you create an equal. So now you're causing an effect. So then people who do this consistently, they literally create a new personality. And of course, they create a new personal reality. Their life changes. They have all these different opportunities that begin to show up. And it takes time in the beginning because breaking the habit of some aspect of yourself requires a constant state of awareness. People start to use the problems and the conditions in their life to keep that emotion going, and I would call that an addiction. So we become addicted to the very life we don't even like. So it's important then for people to realize then when you have that moment where you have crisis or something breaks down, that you do have control over it, and it's a formula and it's a skill. And our research shows that you can teach people how to do that. And so then when you're living by some emotion, there'll always be a gap between the way things appear and the way things really are. Emotions alter our perception. And if you act during that time, you'll always say the same thing. I should have never said that. I should have never done that. I should have never thought that. I should have never sent that email. So then shortening your emotional reactions is a level of intelligence then that causes you then to recalibrate. Because most people don't think they have control over that. They'll say, that person did it to me. That circumstance is the reason I am this way. Then I would say, if something in your outer environment is controlling your thoughts and feelings, then you're a victim to your environment. Yeah. And yet, how you think and feel creates your outer world. So if you're thinking and feeling equal to everything that's known in your present personal reality, you keep creating more of the same. So to change then is to think and feel greater than the conditions in your environment. And to be able to do that to such a degree then, you're no longer reacting to the same people in the same way. And that takes an effort. It's not easy in the beginning. But once you start practicing, you get better at it. And just like anything else, you start to move through your life with more coherence, and you're less likely to knee-jerk. And if you're less likely to knee-jerk, then you're not in an unconscious program. Everybody's done something great. And what happened? You just got a wild idea, right? You got a vision of some possibility. You were struggling with your present circumstances, and all of a sudden you weren't so interested in checking your cell phone every 2 minutes. You weren't so interested in the dinner that you were supposed to go to, or person you usually call up and complain to. You're not interested in television shows. All of a sudden you start thinking and contemplating, is there a new way to do this? Is there a better way? What would it be like to be healthy, to be happy, to be free, to have a new career, a new relationship? The moment you ask that question, you turn on the creative center in your brain, your frontal lobe, the workshop. And the frontal lobe has connections to the entire landscape of the brain. And so it wants to answer that question. It's the forebrain. It's a place where we speculate possibilities, we invent, we have attention or intention. So that we say, what would it be like to have a new career? And the frontal lobe goes, okay, let's look to see what we have stored in the brain. I have a certain amount of knowledge and a certain amount of experience. And it begins to select these different networks of neurons and begins to call them up in relation to that question. And when the brain starts firing in tandem, all of a sudden you get a picture in your mind. That's called intention. You're selecting a new potential in the quantum field. Now, to the passionate person, the thought that they're having in their mind literally becomes the experience, and the end product of an experience is called an emotion. But now they're not feeling sadness or pain or suffering or fear. They're feeling gratitude, they're feeling inspired, they're feeling optimistic, they're feeling a heart-centered emotion. And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you're beginning to change your brain and body from living in the past present reality to living in the future present reality. And the stronger the emotion that you feel, the more you'll pay attention to the picture in your mind. And now you're beginning to emboss the circuitry in your brain, creating a long-term memory and emotionally conditioning your body into that future. And we could say then, you're remembering your future. And now the idea then is to get up and to get your behaviors to match your intentions. You have to then stay conscious of those thoughts that say, start tomorrow, I'm too tired, this will never work, it didn't work last time. You got to be the governor of those thoughts. You got to start making different choices. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choices that you did the day before. So you got to review the choices that you're not going to make. You got to think about the behaviors you're going to change, even how you speak. What experiences do you need to stay away from with certain people and certain places and times? And what emotions bring you to a lower denominator that causes you to no longer see that vision, because that emotion, that familiar emotion, is going to cause you to view your future through the lens of the past. So then when you combine a thought and a feeling, it's called a state of being. So then your job is to maintain that modified state of mind and body your entire day, to keep your energy up, independent of other people and the conditions in your life, independent of the habits and emotional addictions in your body, and independent of time. And I say, if you do that properly, get ready, because something unusual is going to happen in your life. It's the law, and it's going to come in a way that you've never thought of. That's the unknown. That's the surprise. The brain learns by mistakes and surprises. Why not have a few surprises? So then the moment you start feeling a familiar emotion, or you go back to an old state of being, you've disconnected from your future and you're back to your past. Don't expect anything to change. And if you say, it's that person that did it to me, I'm going to say, great, but that's being a victim to your life. So then it takes practice, and it's trial and error. And there are days where you have just a connection and it flows and it's smooth and it's free. And other days you're getting hit from every direction, because the universe is saying, you want wealth, you want freedom, you want health.
Welcome back, everyone. So we can change our personality just that quick. It is possible. We can change everything just by doing that, just by holding that intention. Hold that intention, guys. Allow yourself to hold that intention and feel that emotion.
Well, let me show you how much you have to be initiated to maintain that state independent of those conditions. And when you do, now no person, no thing will move you from it. Now it's permanent. And people are now beginning to understand that. And so the person who heals themselves from a disease in our work, they say to me, the disease exists in the old personality. It doesn't exist with me anymore. And I'm ready for the next challenge. Come on, I'm ready. I want to be challenged. I was more alive when I was challenged.
Yes.
So now you're no longer contracting from your life. You're engaging in life. And I think that's a healthy way to live. So the process of change in the meditative model requires unlearning and relearning. It requires breaking the habit of the old self and reinventing a new self. What we say in neuroscience, pruning synaptic connections and sprouting new connections, unfiring and unwiring and refiring and rewiring, unmemorizing emotions that are stored in the body and then reconditioning the body to a new mind and to a new emotion, no longer signaling the same genes in the same way, but signaling new genes in new ways. Beginning to pull your energy out of the past and beginning to invest your energy into the future. What we're teaching people how to do is not to pray to have their prayers answered, but to get up from their meditations as if their prayers are already answered. Because when they're combining that clear intention of their future with that elevated emotion, they're literally changing their energy, they're changing their brain chemistry, they're changing the way their brain works, they're changing their genetic expression, they're changing their chemistry. They're literally becoming somebody else. And over again, when people do this, it may take them months to turn their disease around. But over and over again, we've seen this. They come back to a certain level of awareness, and the disease is no longer there. And it's almost like the disease existed in the old personality. They're literally someone else. And we've seen it enough times now to know that people reach a certain point with themselves where they feel so whole. They feel so satisfied with who they are. They feel so happy with themselves and their lives that they could care less if they have the disease. And that's the moment it goes away over and over again.
Welcome back, everyone. So if we hold that intention, that strong intention, holding it, and we allow ourselves to feel that emotion, truly feel what would it be like? What would it be like to live in abundance, to have amazing health, to have an amazing relationship, to be able to do the kind of things we want to do in the experiences? What does that look like as your future self? Take some time, disconnect from everything, hold that intention, hold that energy, combine that intention with a powerful emotion, and that slowly but surely will create that reality that you want. When we hold that intention, we start to create a new blueprint for our life, and that's how amazing that is. And in turn, we can transform our personality. Who you thought you were yesterday is not who you thought you are today, because you are creating a whole new you. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.